Noise. That's what most of us live in. Noise from the outside world, opinions, criticism, comparison, and endless chatter. And noise from the inside world, doubt, fear, insecurity, and the constant voice in our head telling us we're not enough. But here's the truth. Greatness doesn't come from noise. It comes from silence. There is power in silence. The kind of silence that isn't weakness, but strength. The silence where you stop explaining yourself, stop defending yourself, stop chasing validation, and instead, focus on building, creating, and growing. Stay silent, and everything will come naturally. Let me give you a picture. Imagine a seed planted in the ground. It doesn't make noise. It doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't announce its growth. It just stays buried in silence, slowly, steadily pushing roots deeper, reaching higher, until one day, it breaks through the surface and becomes a tree. Strong, unshakable, unstoppable. That's how your life works too. The roots you grow in silence will one day create the fruit that the world can't ignore. But here's the problem. Too many people waste their lives trying to prove themselves with words. They argue with doubters. They defend themselves against haters. They broadcast every small move for attention. And in the process, they lose focus. They lose energy. They lose time. The ones who win, they're the ones who stay silent. The ones who put their head down, do the work, and let their results speak louder than words ever could. There's a story of a man named Marcus. Marcus had big dreams of starting his own company. But when he shared his vision, everyone laughed. His friends told him it was impossible. His family said he should just take a safe job. At first, Marcus tried to argue. He tried to convince them. But the more he talked, the more they doubted. One day, Marcus made a decision. He said nothing. He stopped talking about his dream and started working on it in silence. While everyone else was partying, he was building. While others laughed, he stayed focused. Months passed, then years. And one day, Marcus launched his company. It didn't just succeed, it exploded. The same people who laughed at him were now asking him for advice. And Marcus? He didn't have to say a word. His results spoke for him. There's a quote that says, "Work hard in silence. Let your success make the noise." That's not just a clever phrase, it's a life strategy. Think about it. When you announce every move, you invite resistance. When you argue with doubters, you waste energy. But when you stay silent, you keep your power. You keep your focus. And you let life reveal the truth in time. Now, maybe you've been through this. Maybe you've had a dream or a goal that no one believed in. Maybe you've been mocked, doubted, or underestimated. And maybe you felt the urge to fight back, to defend yourself, to prove them wrong with words. But words won't prove them wrong. Results will. Silence is not weakness. Silence is focus. Silence is discipline. Silence is patience. And in that silence, everything will come naturally. Here's the beauty of staying silent. It keeps you connected to the process instead of the outcome. You stop obsessing over how it looks, and you start focusing on how it feels. You stop worrying about what others think, and you start building what matters. That's when momentum comes. That's when growth comes. That's when success comes, naturally. So if you've been wasting energy on proving, defending, or announcing, stop. Pull back. Go quiet. Let your silence do the work. Because one day, when the time is right, your results will make so much noise that the whole world will stop and listen. Stay silent, and everything will come naturally. Silence is powerful, but let's be honest, it isn't easy. We live in a world where everyone wants to be seen, heard, and validated. Social media has created a culture of instant sharing. We post our wins, our plans, even our struggles, hoping for likes and approval. And when no one notices, when no one applauds, it stings. That's why silence feels uncomfortable. Because silence means walking away from the applause. It means working without recognition. It means building when no one is clapping. And for many people, that's unbearable. But here's the truth. Silence is where greatness grows. Think about an athlete training before dawn, alone in the gym. No cameras, no fans, no applause. Just sweat, pain, and repetition. When the world finally sees their victory, they only see the glory, not the years of silent work behind it. Or think about a student burning the midnight oil, studying while their friends are out having fun. There are no likes, no comments, no cheering crowd. Just books, notes, and quiet determination. But when graduation day comes, when opportunities open up, that silence speaks louder than anything else. That's the struggle, staying committed in silence when no one is watching. Let me share a story. There was a young woman named Elena. She dreamed of becoming a lawyer, but her family couldn't afford to support her. While her friends went out, she worked 2 jobs and studied every spare hour she had. She didn't post about it. She didn't complain. She just stayed silent and focused. Years later, she passed the bar exam and walked into a courtroom as an attorney for the first time. Her friends, shocked, asked, "When did you even have time to do all this?" Elena just smiled. She didn't need to explain. Her silence had already spoken. That's the beauty of staying silent. People won't see you coming. And when you arrive, your success will feel unstoppable. But let's be real. It's not just about ignoring applause. Silence also means facing your inner battles. Because when you're quiet, when you're not distracted by the noise of others, you're left alone with your own doubts. Silence can be loud. Loud with fear. Loud with insecurity. Loud with questions like, am I wasting my time? What if I fail? What if no one cares? This is where most people give up. Not because of outside noise, but because of the noise inside. And that's why silence requires strength. It requires you to drown out your doubts with discipline, to trust the process when you can't see the progress, to believe that the roots are growing even if the surface looks empty. There's a quote I love, be patient with yourself. Nothing in nature blooms all year. That's the truth. The seasons of silence, the seasons of waiting, the seasons of unseen effort, they are part of your growth. You may not see the results yet, but the work is being done beneath the surface. Think about bamboo. For years, when it's planted, nothing seems to happen. The farmer waters it daily, tends to it, but the ground looks empty. People laugh and say, "Why are you wasting your time?" But in the 5th year, the bamboo shoots up, sometimes 90 feet in just weeks. Did it really grow in weeks? No, it grew in silence for years. The roots were being built underground, strong enough to support its sudden rise. Your life works the same way. The silent seasons are not wasted. They're preparing you for your breakthrough. So here's the message. Don't fear the silence. Embrace it. Trust it. Because the more you stay disciplined in silence, the more unstoppable your results will be when the time is right. Stay silent. Keep working, and everything will come naturally. We've seen how silence feels uncomfortable, how it demands patience, and how it builds unseen strength. But now let's go even deeper, because silence is more than a discipline. Silence is protection. When you stay silent, you protect your energy. You protect your dreams. You protect your focus. How many times have you shared your goals with the wrong people, only to feel discouraged afterward? Maybe you told a friend about a new idea, and they laughed at it. Maybe you opened up about a dream, and someone told you it was impossible. That's the danger of speaking too soon. People project their own fears onto your vision. But silence keeps your dreams safe. Silence gives it room to grow without being poisoned by doubt. There's a story of a man named Chris who wanted to start a restaurant. Excited, he told everyone about it. But instead of support, he got negativity. The market is too tough. You don't have enough money. Most restaurants fail in the first year. Slowly, their voices became his voice. He delayed his plans, doubted himself, and nearly quit. Then Chris made a decision. No more talking. He stopped sharing his plans. He worked quietly, saved his money, studied the industry, and moved in silence. 2 years later, he opened his restaurant, and it thrived. When people asked, "Why didn't you tell us?" he smiled and said, "Because silence protected me." That's the power of staying silent. It shields your energy from negativity, jealousy, and doubt. There's a quote that says, "Don't tell people your plans. Show them your results." Because when you talk too much, you invite opinions. And opinions can distract you, weaken you, or even kill your motivation. But when you stay silent, you stay focused on what matters, your work. Silence also keeps you humble. In a world where everyone is trying to prove themselves, silence sets you apart. You don't need to brag. You don't need to announce every step. You don't need to fight for attention. You let your actions do the talking. And here's the beautiful thing. People notice. They may not see the grind, but they'll see the glow. They may not hear the noise, but they'll feel the impact. Think about some of the most successful people in the world. They don't waste time arguing with critics. They don't spend energy defending themselves. They stay focused, they stay disciplined, and they let their results speak louder than words ever could. Now, let's make this relatable. How many times have you wasted hours arguing with someone who didn't even matter? Maybe you tried to prove your worth to someone who never wanted to see it. Maybe you defended yourself against someone who had already made up their mind about you. And at the end of the day, what did you gain? Nothing, except wasted energy. Silence is not weakness, it's wisdom. Because sometimes, the loudest answer is no answer at all. But here's the challenge. Silence requires trust. Trust in yourself. Trust in the process. Trust that the results will come, even if no one sees the work right now. That's hard in a culture that rewards constant posting, constant sharing, constant noise. But remember, just because they're loud doesn't mean they're successful. Just because they're seen doesn't mean they're growing. Loud doesn't equal strong. In fact, most of the strongest people you'll ever meet are the quietest. Think of a lion in the wild. It doesn't need to roar all the time. It doesn't need to announce its power. It walks silently, confidently, because it knows who it is. And when the time comes to strike, the whole jungle knows. That's who you need to be. Silent, focused, confident. Not desperate for attention, but building in silence until the world cannot ignore you. So here's the takeaway. Stop wasting your energy explaining, defending, and announcing. Protect your dream. Protect your focus. Protect your peace. Stay silent. Work harder. Move smarter. Because the day will come when your results will be so undeniable that you won't need to say a word. Stay silent, and everything will come naturally. Silence builds more than discipline. It builds resilience. Because when you choose silence, you also choose patience. You choose to wait. You choose to endure. And waiting, enduring, pressing forward without applause, that's where real strength is formed. Most people can work hard when the spotlight is on them. Most people can push forward when there's an audience clapping for them. But the question is, can you keep going when no one notices? Can you keep building when no one is watching? Can you stay faithful to your vision in silence? That's where champions are born. Let me tell you about Daniel. He was an aspiring musician, pouring his heart into writing songs. But for years, no one listened. He uploaded music online, but the views were low. He played at small bars where people talked over his singing. Some nights, he felt invisible. He almost quit. He thought, what's the point of this silence? No one cares. But deep down, he knew this was his passion. So Daniel stayed quiet. He stopped chasing attention and focused on improving his craft. Day after day, he practiced. Night after night, he wrote. Year after year, he grew in silence. Then one day, out of nowhere, a video of him singing went viral. His songs reached millions. The same people who ignored him now begged to collaborate. And when reporters asked him about his sudden success, Daniel laughed. He said, "This wasn't sudden. It was built in silence." That's what silence does. It looks like nothing is happening, but in reality, everything is happening. Growth is happening. Strength is happening. Preparation is happening. There's a famous quote. Patience is not the ability to wait, but the ability to keep a good attitude while waiting. That's the key. Silence isn't about sitting still. It's about moving forward without needing validation. It's about trusting that your work, your discipline, your persistence will pay off, even if no one notices today. And here's the truth. Silence trains you to stop depending on others for motivation. It forces you to find your drive within. Because when no one is clapping, you have to clap for yourself. When no one is cheering, you have to be your own cheerleader. That's hard, but that's also powerful. Because the strongest motivation is the one that comes from within, not from outside approval. Think about a mountain climber. When they're scaling the peak, there's no crowd cheering at each step. It's just them, the mountain, and the silence. Every step is hard. Every breath is heavy, and no one sees the struggle. But when they reach the top, The view belongs to them, and no one can take it away. That's what your silent climb will feel like. Painful, lonely, exhausting. But once you reach the top, once your results burst into the open, the world will see what the silence created. Here's the danger. Most people quit during the silent years. They can't handle the weight. They can't handle the loneliness. They confuse silence with failure, and they walk away right before the breakthrough. Don't let that be you. Stay, endure, keep going. Because silence is not failure, it's preparation. Silence is not emptiness, it's growth. Silence is not weakness, it's strength. Look at nature. Trees grow in silence. Flowers bloom in silence. The sun rises in silence. The most powerful forces in this world don't need noise. They just are. And so will you. The lesson is clear. Don't rush the process. Don't chase shortcuts. Don't trade silence for shallow applause. Keep working. Keep waiting. Keep believing. Because when the timing is right, everything you've been building in silence will come naturally, bigger and brighter than you imagined. Stay silent, and everything will come naturally. We've walked through the power of silence, how it builds focus, protects your dreams, and forges resilience. But now it's time to bring it all home. Because here's the ultimate truth. Silence is not about doing nothing. Silence is about doing everything that matters, without wasting your voice on the things that don't. When you stay silent, you stop explaining and start executing. You stop defending and start building. You stop announcing and start achieving. And when you live this way, life has a funny way of opening doors you never expected. Stay silent, and everything will come naturally. Think about your own life. How many times have you drained yourself trying to prove something to people who didn't matter? How many times have you shared your goals too early, only to be discouraged by someone's doubt? How many times have you argued with negativity instead of feeding your energy into growth? Now imagine what would happen if you pulled back. If you redirected all that wasted energy into your own grind, your own growth, your own purpose. Imagine the progress you could make if you stopped talking about it and started quietly building it. That's the shift. That's the transformation. Let me leave you with one final story. There was a young man named Aaron who dreamed of becoming a writer. He told everyone about it, but they dismissed him. Writing doesn't pay bills. It's too competitive. You should be realistic. The constant doubt wore him down. For months, he defended himself, argued, and tried to convince people that he was serious. But all it did was exhaust him. One night, he sat in silence. And in that silence, he made a decision. No more talking. No more convincing. No more defending. I will let my work speak. From then on, Aaron woke up early every morning and wrote. No social media posts, no big announcements, no arguments with doubters, just writing. For years, he stayed silent, building his craft in the dark. And then one day, his book was published. It exploded, selling thousands of copies. The same people who once doubted him now praised him. But Aaron didn't need their praise anymore, because he had already proven it to himself. His silence had turned into success. That's the secret. You don't need to shout. You don't need to prove. You don't need to beg for validation. If you stay disciplined in silence, the day will come when your results speak so loudly that the world cannot ignore you. And when that day comes, it will feel natural. Because you didn't force it. You didn't chase it. You didn't waste yourself on noise. You simply stayed focused, stayed patient, and trusted the process. Here's the lesson. Seedling seeds grow in silence. Deciduous trees stand tall in silence. The sun rises in silence. High voltage strength is built in silence. So why not you? Silence doesn't mean you're weak. Silence means you're wise enough to know that your energy belongs in action, not argument. Silence means you trust yourself, your work, your grind. Silence means you're patient enough to let everything fall into place when the time is right. So from this moment on, make yourself a promise. You will stay silent and focused. You will guard your dreams from negativity. You will let your actions, not your words, speak for you. And you will trust that if you do the work, everything will come naturally. This is your season of silence. This is your time to build. This is your moment to trust the process. Stay silent. Stay focused. Stay disciplined. And soon, your life will be louder than any words you could ever speak. And when that day comes, when you finally see the results of your silent grind, you'll know it was worth it. Every quiet morning, every lonely night, every moment of doubt, it all added up to something unstoppable. So keep going, keep building, keep trusting, because silence is your power. Stay silent, and everything will come naturally. And if this message spoke to you, if it reminded you of the fire inside you, if it gave you the strength to keep pushing, don't stop here. Feed that fire. Keep it alive. Backhand index pointing right. Subscribe to Mind Fire Motivation for daily reminders, powerful stories, and unstoppable energy to keep you on your path. This is where the silent warriors gather. This is where ordinary people become extraordinary. Stay silent, stay strong, and watch everything you've dreamed of unfold naturally.